Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? Gabriel Santos here in the car. If you can hear any background noise, it's likely the car humming or something like that. So I apologize for that. But in today's video, I just want to send a message out to everyone, especially those of you who are just trying to figure yourself out when it comes to life, marijuana, responsibility, what have you. I want to let you know that wherever you're at is all good, and that the type of solutions or answers you're looking for or breakthroughs you're looking for, they're forthcoming. And the reason why I can say that is because I was once in your shoes too, in some degree. And although I wish that every one of these videos can be some major enlightening moment for you, I know that for me, a lot of times the big breakthroughs came on a random Tuesday. And they came to me over time through experience, right? Even though I watched so many videos, read so many books, and attended so many programs, the big shifts came over time. They weren't just in an instance. Because I know many of you have read many books, watched many videos, yet here you still are. And so I just want to let you know that the change you're looking for is out there, and that in some divine timing, when it's your time to make these shifts, they will happen. Now, to get more practical, one book I would highly recommend you read is what are they called? One is called Transcending the Levels of Consciousness. The other one is called Letting Go: The Pathway to Surrender. And the reason why I recommend you read these books is because it gives a very detailed understanding about different levels of consciousness, which are just different levels of emotion and thought, and how it works. Specifically, specifically in the context of understanding addiction, shame, guilt, depression, and the process of transcending out of that, right? Because at least in my experience, states of addiction and depression are really low states of consciousness, really low states of consciousness. And the process of actually getting out of that place and then eventually towards a life that's really fulfilling, really rewarding, and full of health and vitality, it can happen like in a really quick spark, but I found that it's kind of a process of chipping away and embracing mindsets and concepts and philosophies that ultimately have you shift out of those states of mind, depression and victimhood. Um, and just as kind of like a lasting message at the end of this video, if you're someone who's in a state of depression or just darkness, and you find yourself just surviving through every day with entertainment, social media, junk food, porn, alcohol, weed, if that's where you're at right now, I would assume that what you're looking for is sustainable change, right? Not just not just a fleeting moment of, not just a day of doing better, not just a week of doing better, but a really, really getting past this dark phase and actually entering a new place where health and lightness is more normal than it is not normal, right? Where darkness is something that happens every now and then, and lightness is something that's more common. Whereas right now it's probably vice versa. Okay. And so my my first suggestion is to get these two books, Transcending the Level of Consciousness and Letting Go: The Pathway to Surrender. They're both by the same author. I believe it's David R. Hawkins or Richard R. Hawkins, one of the two. Okay. And then secondarily, I'm going to give you, this might sound crazy. I am giving you full permission to be in your darkness, full permission to run away and escape and cope, full permission to use food, porn, marijuana at your disposal to deal with what you're dealing with. My only request is that you start to take two things. One is that you forgive yourself and be okay with the fact that you're coping through darkness. And just be okay with that. I'm coping through darkness. Be okay with that. And be okay with how you do this. Okay? And number two is to start taking full ownership of the fact that this is what you're doing. Right? So in essence, you're no longer judging yourself for the fact that you're coping with porn, alcohol, food, social media, weed. You're also acknowledging the fact that you're not that happy right now and that you're not doing so good and that there's something going on that's really bugging you and hurting deep down, most likely, or making you angry or something. And just start to chip away at this heaviness that you're going through. Just start to chip away through forgiveness, acceptance, non-judgment, and ownership. And the best you can, even if you're in the middle of coping, muster up the courage to face the things in your life that must require facing. I've been talking about this in the last handful of videos, right? So if you're overweight and unhappy, continue to cope how you're coping, but start to be willing to face how much you are not okay with that. If you're at a job you don't like and you've just been kind of comfortable and okay with it, but you really don't like it, cope how you're going to cope. But start to face this reality like, wow, I really don't like working at this place. And that goes for anything else. Your relationship, right? How you feel about yourself, the state of your bedroom, the state of your house. And just start to, quote unquote, look at the things in your life that you have just been turning a blind eye to. And continue to cope how you want to cope if you want to. And in the process of coping, start to just bring attention and consciousness and courage to the table and just start to look and just really start to embrace the reality of your situation. Like, you know what I mean? The dark corners of your room, the dark corners of your mind, the dark corners of your soul, the dark corners of your life. And just start to just the willingness to take a look at those areas, okay? And then the next step after that is the willingness to actually do something about those areas. And just the willingness to be like, I know we're saying willingness or not, but just the willingness to be like, man, this is not how I want things to go. And the shift to make as you are making these shifts is like, man, you know, I really do have to do something about my life, and I can't just continue to run away forever. And part of this kind of hurts because it's like, fuck, like the pain of, you know, just the when you avoid for so long, there is like a pain of like, wow, this hole I've put myself in. Because in the process of coping with food, weed, entertainment, avoidance, you unconsciously manufacture a life that you really don't want. It's like, oh my God, I've been coping with food for 5 years. Now I'm fucking 200 pounds overweight. Fuck. Right? And what's so ironic, what's so messed up is that the reason why you turned to food in the first place is because, oh, you were, there's a part of you that has low self-esteem because of something that happened when you were 7 years old, right? And so my point is that really just start to shine the light on these things that maybe you've been avoiding. And then at some point over time, as you continue to be more and more forgiving with yourself, more and more gentle with yourself, less judgmental, less harsh, and gaining the courage to do something differently, that's what you're looking for here. That's what you're looking for here. And then as you gain the courage to take action, and this is what's just the truth of it. It's like you have to maintain that courage, you know? And it's a muscle that you develop. And the truth is that if you're watching this video to this point, you've likely been just riding avoidance and procrastination and escapism and for a while now. And that's what you're used to. And in order to have something different, it's on you to maintain courage. It's on you to be and act differently. And the irony is that what you've been lacking is responsibility and willingness to be responsible. Yet that's exactly what's required in order for you to have the life that you want but don't have. And so what that looks like is just willingness to show up to the plate every day and just own that. And in the process, you'll find ways to have fun. You'll find ways to relax. And there's still room for coping, but no more avoiding forever long until it's too late. No more of this. No more of this. Like, how much more can you really take, you know? And anyways, I don't mean to bring it down that path, but anyways, little of a longer video as they typically have been. You know, I always appreciate those of you who watch these. Leave down in the comments below whatever resonated with you, and hopefully, you know, you are empowered and ultimately make a shift in your life that you've been looking for. And yeah, that's it. So I appreciate you all. I love you all. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.